Katrina, it's Jonathan Hoenig. Would President Trump declare war? And if so, who would he declare war on in this attack?
Well, Mr. Trump would go to Congress and ask for a declaration of war, whether it's a war on terrorism or maybe it's just wherever their headquarters is. We have to understand that, yes, many of these nations are quote-unquote friends, as Hillary Clinton would say, but they're not holding up their end of the deal. And we're talking about a period of time while Secretary Clinton was Secretary of State and ignored Defense Secretary Robert Gates when he said, we have a sufficient deficit here with NATO. We've had 40,000 troops over here. NATO forces have had 850. That's not even. And some of these countries haven't even participated since the last World War, for crying out loud. We have to hold these people accountable. Mr. Trump would also go and talk about reorganizing NATO. Other countries have to participate. They have to step up. This is a problem that is global, and the United States can't be the only one bearing the burden, and we have to use what we have, as Mr. Trump would call leverage, to get these other nations in gear.
Katrina, it's Dagan McDowell. Has Donald Trump decided, I'm not going to ask you for names, but has he truly picked people in his head maybe who are going to be running Homeland Security, who are going to be running the Justice Department, who are going to be the Secretary of State? Does he have his cabinet laid out?
Mr. Trump does have an idea of who he'd like to see there. There are, a number of people that he's considered from all those positions that you just mentioned. And it's going to have to be the right combination of people to do what needs to be done. It has to be someone, individuals who are strong and understand that this is not the time to be politically correct. When we are sitting here fighting the same war for 15 years, and all we do is talk about it.
Right.
And in the United States case, make it worse because we fund it, we silence it, we punish people using the First Amendment. We talk about not even bothering to monitor mosques that we know have possible terrorist activities. We cannot do that anymore. So he's going to pick people who are going to get out there and do the job and put Americans first, and that's why his motto is making America great again.
Yeah, I mean, just to follow up on that idea, Katrina, one of the issues, last night Donald Trump postponed the news conference scheduled today to announce his running mate in the wake of this attack. But when he did so, he still didn't let on who that vice presidential pick is, and he said, well, I have three on the short list. Does that suggest he still doesn't know who his VP is?
That would suggest that he is still deciding. He did postpone it, which I think was very smart to do in the wake of what's going on in France.
Yeah, I think most people do agree with that.
He's just going to take more time. Good. Okay.
When will the press conference be? I mean, when should we
do.
expect the press conference or the announcement, given that the convention it begins on Monday?
Well, it could be later today, or it even could be Monday morning. It's going to be up to Mr. Trump. Again, he doesn't want to take away from the coverage of the people of France, and so we're going to have to wait and see how this goes.
All right, and then there's the security issue, Katrina. I want to get your take on this as well. Steve Rogers, formerly of the FBI. Katrina, the worries have been heightened now going into the Republican National Convention next week. What should we expect? Are you confident that the security in place will be sufficient?
Yes, I do believe so. I believe everyone understands the precautions that need to be taken. Everyone is going to be definitely vigilant and making sure if they see something, they say something. But at the same time, we are not going to be afraid. And I think you and many, in the media have seen that Trump supporters and patriotic Americans all over are not going to be afraid. We're going to do what we do best as Americans, and that is support our political candidates or party of choice. And we're going to do that like we've always done in the past. We're not going to stop being Americans. We're not going to stop being patriotic. And we're not going to hide in fear, because we know come November, we're going to have a president that's going to take care of the problem.
Yeah. Do you think things have changed in terms of the setup for the RNC? Steve Rogers?
Oh, I believe that the police there are going to be given the weapons they need to go on the the defensive with a lot of firepower if they need it. But as Katrina said, I also believe that's going to be one of the safest places on earth because of what's taking place there. And one more thing, may I add, that Donald Trump, at least in my view, and I think in the view of many, have heard the cries of the American people. He has seen their tears. He has felt their broken hearts. And, Lord willing, he become president of the United States. we're going to be able to survive as a nation.
Do you have the worries, though, that Dagan brought up? I mean, we don't know who's in the cabinet. Should he be telling us who would be running Homeland Security, Steve, at this point?
No, I think it's very important that he keep that to himself right now. Okay. And you know what? I think he ought to just keep it to himself.
Katrina, thanks very much for joining us this morning. Katrina Pierson there.
Great to be here.
We will
Thank
see you
you
soon. Up